Africa.
Hey, guys, let's lighten up from all the heavy tragedy and do some of the comedies for a while.
Word. Comedies.
Okay. Now, when it came to comedy, Shakespeare was a genius at borrowing and adapting plot devices from different theatrical traditions.
These influences include the Roman plays of Plautus and Terence, Ovid's Metamorphoses, which are hysterically funny, as well as the rich Italian tradition of Commedia dell'arte.
Yeah, basically Shakespeare stole every comedy he ever wrote.
Well, no. Stole's a little strong. Distilled, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, he distilled the 3 or 4 funniest comic gimmicks of his time, and then he milked them into 16 plays.
Yeah, you see, basically Shakespeare was a formula writer. Once he found a device that worked, he used it over and over and over again. So, Mr. Shakespeare, the question we have is this. Why did you write 16 comedies when you could have written just one?
Well, in answer to this question, we of the Reduced Shakespeare Company have taken the liberty of condensing all 16 of Shakespeare's comedies into a single play, which we have entitled The Comedy of Two Well-Measured Gentlemen Lost in the Merry Wives of Venice on a Midsummer's 12th Night in Winter.
Or Cymbeline taming Pericles the Merchant in the Tempest of Love as much as you like it for nothing.
Or
4 Weddings and a Transvestite. Act 1. A Spanish duke swears an oath of celibacy and turns the rule of his kingdom over to his sadistic and tyrannical twin brother. He learns some fantastical feats of magic and sets sail for the golden age of Greece, along with his daughters, 3 beautiful and virginal sets of identical twins. While running the hill of Italy, the duke's ship is caught in a terrible tempest, which in its fury casts the duke upon a desert island, along with the loveliest and most virginal of his daughters, who stumbles into a cave where she is molested by a creature who is either a man or a fish or both.
Act 2. The long-lost sons of the Duke's brother, also coincidentally 3 sets of identical twins, have just arrived in Italy. Though still possessed of an inner nobility, they are ragged, destitute, penniless, flea-infested shadows of the men they once were, and in the utmost extremity are forced to borrow money from an old Jew, who deceives them into putting down their brains as collateral on the loan. Now the 6 brothers fall in love with 6 Italian sisters, 3 of whom are contentious, sharp-tongued little shrews, while the other 3 are submissive, air-headed little bimbos.
Act 3. The shipwrecked identical daughters of the Duke, wash up on the shores of Italy, disguise themselves as men, become pages to the shrews and matchmakers to the Duke's brother sons. They lead all the lovers into a nearby forest, where, on a midsummer's night, a bunch of mischievous fairies squeeze the aphroditic juice of a hermaphroditic flower into the shrews' eyes, causing them to fall in love with their own pages, who in turn have fallen in love with the Duke's brother sons, while the queen of the fairies seduces a jackass, and they all have an orgy.
Act 4. The elderly fathers of the Italian sisters, finding their daughters missing, dispatch messages to the pages telling them to kill any man in the vicinity.
However, unable to find men in the forest, the faithful messengers, in a final misguided act of loyalty, deliver the messages to each other and kill themselves.
Meanwhile, the fish creature and the Duke arrive in the forest, disguised as Russians, and, for no apparent reason, perform a 2-man underwater version of Uncle Vanya.
Act 5. The Duke commands the fairies to right their wrongs.
The pages and the bimbos get into a knockdown, drag-out fight in the mud,
during which the pages' clothes get ripped off, revealing female genitalia.
The Duke recognizes his daughters.
The Duke's brother's sons recognize their uncle.
One of the shrews is elected senator from New York.
And they all get married and go out to dinner.
Except for a minor character in the second act who gets eaten by a bear, and the Duke's brother's sons who, unable to pay back the old Jew, give themselves lobotomies.
And they all live happily ever after.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.